Welcome to Concrete Block, the podcast where we dive into the latest news and current events shaping our world. We're starting off with a significant development from France, where Prime Minister Sébastien Lecornu has survived a no-confidence vote over his government's budget push. This move came after Lecornu used the constitutional power to force part of the 2026 budget through Parliament without a vote, following concessions to gain the backing of the socialists. The decision marked a reversal for Lecornu, who had previously pledged to seek Parliament's approval, aiming to avoid the fate of his predecessors who were ousted over budget negotiations. However, he invoked the constitutional power, citing an impasse and the need for France to have a budget. The no-confidence motions filed by the hard left and the far right were both blocked, thanks in part to the support of the socialists, who viewed the use of this measure as the least bad solution. The latest draft of the budget included concessions such as an increase in a top-up benefit for the lowest-paid employees and the rollout of I-1 meals for students. Far-right leader Marine Le Pen criticized the move, stating that government opponents who supported Lecornu would pay the price in future elections. She described the process as humiliating and promised that the French people would make them pay for it at the ballot box. Lecornu will need to use the constitutional power twice more to enact the full budget into law, exposing him to further no-confidence motions. This ongoing budget battle highlights the challenges faced by the French government in navigating its fiscal policies amidst political pressures. We'll be keeping a close eye on this story as it unfolds and exploring its implications for France and beyond. We'll be right back with more of today's top news on Concrete Block. Welcome back to Concrete Block. We're diving into a complex story that has been making headlines lately. As we explore the recent actions of President Trump, it's essential to consider multiple perspectives and examine the implications of his decisions. President Trump has indeed had a consequential year, with many notable events and policy changes taking place. Some argue that his ability to push through his agenda is a result of having a more loyal team around him, with staff and cabinet members who are willing to execute his vision without hesitation. Others, like attorney Ty Cobb, suggest that Trump has learned to navigate the system and find people who will support his impulses. This has led to a significant shift in how the administration operates, with some noting that Trump is now governing by whim, unconstrained by opposing views or advice from his team. It's crucial to acknowledge that this approach has both supporters and critics. On one hand, some argue that Trump's ability to act quickly and decisively has allowed him to achieve significant goals and make progress on key issues. On the other hand, others express concern that this style of governance can lead to reckless decisions and undermine the system of checks and balances. As we examine the president's actions, it's also important to consider the role of the Supreme Court and Congress in shaping the boundaries of executive power. The court may ultimately weigh in on some of the more contentious issues, providing clarity on what is and isn't within the president's authority. Ultimately, the impact of President Trump's approach will depend on various factors, including the upcoming elections and the responses of other branches of government. As we continue to follow this story, it's essential to stay informed and consider multiple viewpoints to gain a deeper understanding of the complexities at play. Welcome back to Concrete Block. Today, we're diving into a complex and intriguing story that has been making waves on the global stage. The Board of Peace, an initiative launched by former U.S. President Donald Trump, has been garnering attention and sparking debate among world leaders. The board, which aims to address international conflicts, including the humanitarian crisis in Gaza, has already seen 25 countries formally announce their participation. However, not all nations are on board, with some expressing concerns about the group's structure and potential encroachment on the United Nations mandate. Canada, for instance, had initially agreed in principle to join the board, but later clarified that it would not contribute the required $1 billion for permanent membership. In a surprising turn of events, Trump took to social media to announce that the Board of Peace was withdrawing its invitation to Canada, citing no specific reason. Other countries, such as Sweden, Slovenia, and France, have outright rejected the invitation, citing concerns about the board's broad mandate and potential undermining of the international order. The European Union has also expressed skepticism, with leaders calling for more clarity on the group's goals and structure. As the story continues to unfold, it's essential to consider multiple perspectives and evaluate the potential implications of this new initiative. While some argue that the Board of Peace could provide a fresh approach to conflict resolution, others worry about its potential to create confusion and undermine existing international institutions. Ultimately, the success or failure of the Board of Peace will depend on its ability to navigate these complex geopolitical waters and demonstrate tangible results. As we continue to monitor this developing story, it's crucial to remain informed and engaged in the conversation. That's all for today's Concrete Block. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, stay informed.